thank both the witnesses. I recognize myself for questions. General Cavali, given Russia's armed forces are mobilized for long-term confrontation, what's your best military advice on whether or not DoD should maintain the current force posture in Europe for the foreseeable future?
Chairman, it's my advice to maintain that force posture as it is now. We have reviewed periodically since in 2022 we originally surged forces forward. We have periodically reviewed the force structure at both the military level and the policy level. And I have consistently recommended throughout that period to maintain the forces we surged forward. And I would continue to do so now if asked, yeah.
Now, you referenced this in your opening statement. I would like for you to reiterate it. How does the U.S. force posture in Europe contribute to the defense of our homeland as well as our operations in CENTCOM and AFRICOM?
Sir, thanks. Yeah, it's an important part of why we're there. First and foremost, Russian strategic forces. Russia continues to have very powerful strategic forces, thousands of nuclear weapons, and the delivery methods to deliver those. Those are not pointed just any place. Those are pointed, those are there, they exist for America. And our defense against those strategic forces, whether in the air or undersea, begins in the European continent. For example, Russian submarines are mainly stationed with the Northern Fleet up in Murmansk, up in the area east of the northern Nordic countries. They come out of their harbors and they go south between Greenland, Iceland, and the United Kingdom, the famous GI-UK gap. We have to bottle them up north of that gap. If they break out into the Atlantic for a variety of reasons, it gets tougher to track them. And from those positions, they can hold the country at risk. So our maritime efforts, which are greatly aided by the efforts of our allies, their maritime patrol aircraft, their anti-submarine helicopters, their destroyers, all of our efforts together, but built around America's exquisite capabilities, that's the first line of defense against Russian subs. If we look to the south, we participated in the defense of Israel early this year. US Central Command led a brilliant campaign with the Israelis and some other allies to protect against Iranian attacks against Israel. The ballistic missile defense part of that comes off of EUCOM ships in the Eastern Mediterranean. The refuelers come out of EUCOM. The airspace control comes out of EUCOM. We do the same for AFRICOM and everybody else. It's really because of our proximity and our familiarity with the area. The bases that we have in Europe and the legal permissions we have with nations hosting us give us the ability to project power quickly in our interest, on behalf of our U.S. unilateral interests.
Thank you, General. Ms. Thompson, given everything you've just heard, does the Department support maintaining its current posture of U.S. forces in Europe for the foreseeable future?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Chairman. The department right now is undergoing a global force posture review, and so we are taking into account not only the dynamics in EUCOM, but in all of our theaters, and evaluating that based on President Trump's stated interests and sizing our force and our resources appropriately to that. No decisions have been made at this time as part of that global force posture review. It is ongoing.
I think that the ranking member and I have made it very clear in our previous correspondence to the department, and I think in this opening statements, you should be focused on maintaining the surge posture that we've had in Europe since the conflict was started by Russia for the foreseeable future. General Cavali, you noted in your written statement and in that the inadequate U.S. defense production capacity and problems within foreign military sales systems are making it hard for Europe to buy U.S. weapons. What challenges does this pose to your command responsibilities in EUCOM?
Thank you, Chairman. In my oral statement, in my opening statement, I talked about an historic transformation of Allied command operations, the operational force in NATO. So we've designed these plans to defend NATO territory, and from that, we derive a force structure requirement, a description of what exactly force is and how many of them we need. So this is sort of the spending list, the shopping list for defense spending in Europe now. Increasingly, nations are putting money up against that shopping list. 23 nations are spending above 2% right now. We're grateful for that, but there's got to be something in the store to buy. There is a lack of production capacity right now, and that's the first problem. The second problem is—
I'm sorry, my time's expired. I'm